Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. I've already gone over the counterpart to this, which is the Insatiable Fury, and this is the werewolf portion, which is the Mad Wolf's Glee. Mad Wolf's Glee has always been an interesting one, and I feel like they kind of gutted it in 1.5.0. But let's go over it together. We'll talk about what I think about it and whether or not I think it's any good. So first off, Mad Wolf's Glee is a ancestral unique chest armor that has a 974 to 1427 life. It does have a werewolf attack speed bonus of 10.5 to 15%, so specifically for werewolf. It's going to give you a little bit of a faster attack there when you're in werewolf form. You also get the 13 to 17.5% lupine ferocity damage bonus, which if you take a look at lupine ferocity, that is the main key passive, which says every third werewolf skill critically strikes and deals 70 times increased damage, doubled to 140 times against injured enemies. So it's basically going to give you up to a 17.5% multiplier, essentially, straight to lupine ferocity's 70% multiplier, and another 17.5% to the doubled against injured enemies, right? So it's essentially just going to give you a flat damage bonus. On top of this, it also gives you +5 to digit grade, which is the movement speed bonus while you're in werewolf form, so you're going to be able to run around faster. It seems like the entire idea behind this is to make you attack faster, run faster, and obviously dish out more damage through your lupine ferocity bonus. And while all of this seems really nice, they also kind of stripped off basically all the damage reduction that this armor originally had, which was damage reduction while monsters were poisoned. And so it has no damage reduction now and basically no defensive stats with the exception of that 1,427 life. They turned it from a highly defensive armor or a moderately defensive armor to a completely defenseless armor, which is rough. Especially considering when you look at Insatiable Fury and it's like ridiculously defensive. On top of that, when you compare it to something like Tyrael's Might, it offers basically no defense by comparison, and also the movement speed bonus on Tyrael's Might is even higher than the movement speed bonus you're probably going to get through digit grade. So, It also offers you +5 ranks to all of your werewolf skills, and it also turns you into a werewolf permanently, making werewolf your true form, essentially, so that whenever you're running around outside of town, that's right, outside of town, it doesn't work inside of town, but outside of town, you will be a werewolf. Now, if you use ability that is not a werewolf skill, it will down transform into a human, but you will automatically transform back after a certain time period. Normally, when you'd use a shape-shifting skill, like for instance a werebear skill, you transform into the werebear, and then you shapeshift back into a human after a set period of time. All this really does is it turns your base form into the werewolf form, so that you're transforming back into the werewolf whenever you downshift from whatever you're doing. This, of course, means that you can obtain certain bonuses, like you can have the run walk speed bonus active all the time. You can, of course, have bonuses that are specific to werewolf abilities, like for instance, I'm trying to think here, like right off the top of my head, but I'm having trouble finding some of them. The werewolf abilities that give you bonuses specifically for being a werewolf, like the digit grade gate is one of the main ones that I can point out to you right now, is definitely going to be useful because it's going to give you that bonus. Now the problem is that even though you are a werewolf in your true form, if you use an ability that's not a werewolf skill, you're still going to change out of the werewolf form. So it doesn't necessarily like make you give you like all of the bonuses. Like for instance, let's just have a for instance. So the lupine ferocity requires you to hit with a werewolf skill. Like just because you're a werewolf doesn't mean you're using a werewolf skill. And if I use something that's not a werewolf skill, I downshift. So it's very obvious that I still have to actually be using werewolf abilities. Now the +5 ranks to all werewolf skills is really nice. And if you are utilizing something like the Tempest Roar in addition to the lupine of the Mad Wolf's Glee, you are going to be getting those 5 ranks to the storm skills as well, because Tempest Roar of course makes all of your storm skills werewolf skills, and those 5 ranks are going to apply to those storm skills as well. So like if I take this off, for instance, you'll notice that my storm skills are now 1, and when I put it on, my storm skills now become 6. So this does of course make it so that I can get some very interesting bonuses to my storm skills as well as my werewolf skills in terms of the damage output by adding a huge bonus to the skills. Five is a lot of ranks.
Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
But of course, you're also giving up something like Harlequin Crest for Tempest Roar, which does have +4, so it's really only one more than you would be getting. And then, of course, you're also giving up the armor slot, which also can have plus the skills on it. So it might actually not end up as many plus the skills as you would think, comparatively to maybe another setup. Of course, you do need Tempest Roar and Vassal's Prayer for very specific builds to make those builds work. So if you are already using Tempest Roar, it could be an interesting option. The main problem that I have with Mad Wolf's Glee now is that it is a highly offensive option with no defense in a slot that is mainly reserved for defensive options. If you're not using your armor for defensive purposes and you're not using your helmet for defensive purposes, then you're pretty much just left with pants. So you better have some really defensive pants. It's really, really defensive pants, to be perfectly honest. And that's really the only issue that I have with this, and that's why I feel like they gutted it. By not including any kind of damage reduction on it, they postured it against other more defensive plates, like Soulbrand, like Insatiable Fury. There's quite a few more defensive options on the table, and this really represents exactly that, an offensive option. It is about attack speed, it is about increased damage output, it is about moving faster, and it's basically everything about, like what the werewolf is about. The werewolf is about speed and ferocity, right? It's not about tankiness like the bear is. The special flavor text on this is, he was not a victim of the curse. He sought it out. As his skin split and his bones cracked, his laughter never ceased. Tale of the mad nobleman. Now, if you are looking for this particular item, it's actually pretty easy to farm. If you take a look on Diablo 4.life and our little target farming tool, you can see that we've got Mad Wolf's Glee here, Echo of Arshan, and Lord Zir. So you can farm this from either one of those. If you're spamming some Echo of Arshans and Lord Zir, you're probably going to get quite a few of these. Now, if you're looking for a greater affix on this, my personal opinion, the best greater affix you're going to get is probably Lupine's Ferocity, because that's going to give you a very nice bonus to the Lupine Ferocity key passive. Not exactly sure how far you could scale that, but it's basically just a flat increase in your damage bonus, and it's going to be pretty massive. The werewolf attack speed could also be kind of nice, depending on what you're doing. Not really too worried about the digit grade gate because it's just movement speed, and movement speed isn't really the end all be all of anything, although it's nice to have. And of course, life is also nice to have in greater affix as well. But the Lupine Ferocity, I think, is really the money greater aspect on here if you were looking for one. I think that's pretty much it. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these fun little adventures, even when we're just going over the Mad Wolf's Glee for the, what was it, the second time? I think this is the second video I've done on this, but 1.5 did change a lot of things. And as always, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And keep watching.